Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we are going to see how to make the checkout page in our PHP e-commerce project. So let's get started with it. So previously we had made it till here. We had viewed the products in our cart and then we made the increment and decrement. So even when you refresh the page, your quantity stays updated. And then we had made the remove thing. So you can delete the product from your cart. So now we'll make the proceed to checkout button over here. So in your cart.php, over here you can just float and say btn checkout.php, say btn primary, proceed to checkout. Save and refresh, have it over here. So we'll just add the outline thing in this. Say btn outline primary, refresh. Yeah. So now when you click on this, you have to go to the checkout.php page. Okay. So we'll create that page now. Say new file, checkout.php, and over here can just go to your card.php, copy the whole file and paste it over here. So firstly we are going to change this breadcrumbs over here, say checkout.php, and then I will just close this, refresh. So you have got the card design in this checkout page. So what we are going to do is, so we will be designing the checkout page in a way that half of the screen will have the checkout details and in this side we will have the cart items. Okay, so we can use this same code to display the cart items. So first what we are going to do is we'll just open this and we will remove this increment and remove button. So we just need the product name and the image and the quantity. Okay, so remove this div and we can leave this thing. Instead of remove, I have the product, quantity and price. Yeah, this looks good. I have the name and then the quantity. Just paste, say prod qty, refresh. Yeah, so now we are going to divide this into the other half thing. Close this, remove this from here, and this column MD12 we have, right? We're just going to divide it into column MD7 and this will be 5. So you can just refresh and check. We've got it over here. We'll add this thing in a card, say card body, so I'll just finish with this design and continue the video. So here's the design, guys. I just added a basic heading over here and this is a form and you have displayed the cart items over here. Let me show you the code. So here this is just a simple bootstrap design where I've used the row and then the column MD6, and then here in the column MD5 we've just added a H5 and then a horizontal row, and over here we have displayed the details. So now what we are going to do is we are going to show the total of this cart items over here. Okay, so just inside this column MD5, right? So in this div we have to show the total price. So let me say h5 total price, and over here create a span dot float end, and over here we will be showing the price. Okay, so just save, refresh. Yeah, so now we will just calculate this. So first we'll declare a variable over here, say dollar total price is equal to 0. Just missed it over here. Yeah, copy that, and over here say plus equal to the selling price into the quantity. Okay, now we'll just copy this variable name and paste it over here. Okay, dollar total price. Oops, it's PHP, right? So open PHP, close PHP, paste, and refresh over here. So you got it. Okay, so it is 23,000 into 2, it's 46 plus 400. So you get that total over here. So it looks correct. Now we'll add the checkout button over here. Say let's keep a div over here, btn.btn, say confirm and place order. So this will be the cash on delivery thing. So let me just say COD, and this will be btn primary, refresh. So let us just add one HR over here. So it will just divide the cart with this thing. Okay, say horizontal row, refresh. Yeah, and you can make this a bit bold, say in this font weight bold, and you can just increase this button size to full width, 100. So now when we press this button, our order has to be stored in our database with these details and this cart items with the quantity and everything. Okay, so for that we need to create a table in our database. So let me just open my database over here. So here's my database. We need to create a table called orders and another table called order items to store this multiple order items in our table. So I have just noted down all these column names which we have to create in our orders table and order items table. So let's start with creating the table now. So I'll click on new, and we are going to give the table name, that is orders, and we'll start with the ID, and the ID is going to be an auto increment column. Okay, and then you have the name or the user ID first. Let's give the tracking ID or number, whatever you can say, varchar 191. Then you have the user ID, leave this as integer, and then you have the name varchar 191. So I'll just add all these columns and continue the video. So here I have just added all the columns. So let me just show you. The address thing is medium text, and the pin code and total price is integer, and the payment ID over here is nullable. Okay, so you can see the null column we have just checked over here, because for the cash on delivery there is no payment ID, so that thing is, we are going to allow it as null. And the status is tiny integer, and by default it is going to be 0. And the comments we just kept varchar and 255 size, this is also nullable. And the created at, we have kept it as timestamp data type, and then the default is current timestamp. Okay, and the rest all the things are mandatory, so we're not leaving anything as null. So let's create this. Click on save, and the orders table is created. So now when we store the order with these details, we have multiple order items, right? So we need another table called order items. So let's create one, say order underscore items. And for this, we have 5 columns and the ID, that is by default, which we have the auto increment. Okay, so it is the order ID, product ID, order ID. You can keep it varchar or integer, anyhow. Integer 191, prod ID 191. Then you have the quantity, and you have the price and created at. So we need 2 more columns. Say price and created at. Okay, so that is timestamp, current timestamp. Click on save. Okay, so we have created the orders and order items table. So now we will insert the data. So we'll go to our code and give this as button type equal to submit, and all these fields as required. Okay, QUIRED. Okay, so close this row, give a form method is equal to post method. Okay, in the action we can just send it to the functions, and we will create a file over here, new file, and say place order.php, say functions slash place order.php. Okay, and over here we are going to give the button name, and that is place order button. Okay, so copy that and go to your place order.php, and over here we are going to open php, close php, and check if is set of dollar underscore post of this button, only then come inside. So before that we have to include the database connection, right? So we have that in this handle card. Let me just, yeah, just copy that, and we need to check the auth also. So I'll just copy this if condition as well, paste, close that bracket over here. Yeah, so if it is not authenticated, then we're just going to redirect the user. So header location index.php. Okay, yeah, so we need to fetch the details which the user has entered in this text box. Just close this. So we need to take this things, the name attributes value. So in your place order, just say dollar name is equal to dollar underscore post of name. So you can just put this in the MySql escape string, MySql real escape string. So just to prevent the SQL injection, I need to pass the $con as the first parameter. Okay, copy and paste. Copy this. Just change the variable name and this here. Okay, so we have got the user input. So you can write a validator over here, like if all these things are, yeah, let's put it over here. If $name is equal to null or $email is equal to null. So just paste all the variables. We are going to redirect the user back to the checkout page if the value is null for any of these. Okay, so for that you just go to your my functions, and over here you have the redirect function, right? So we can just either copy that or we'll just take it from here, paste, and set the message all fields are mandatory, and the URL, that is nothing but just go one step back to the checkout.php. Okay, so let's try this if it works. Refresh, and for now we have given required, right? So if a user inspects and remove that required, it will still be submitted. So let us remove the required and test. Say I remove the required for these three, and then I put the pin code, refresh. Yeah, see, all fields are mandatory. Okay, so yeah, that validation is done. And I'll just say exit of 0. In case the script continues to execute, it will stop over here. If all the variables have the value, then we are going to insert it. Okay, say $query is equal to insert into orders, and we are going to specify the column names and their values. Okay, so the column names, we are going to open the database, we have it over here. I have tracking number, just copy it from here, paste. Okay, so just comma user ID, comma name, I'll just break the query to the next line, payment ID, status is by default we have given, and no comments for this, created at is also having a default value. Yeah, so now we are going to give the values for each column. So the tracking number, we have to generate a random code over here. Let's say dollar tracking number is equal to, first we'll add a string called whatever name you can just give over here, Sharma coder or whatever, and just concatenate a random value to that. Give the range from 111 to 999, and you can still concatenate some value in the last. You can just put the substring of the username or the email. So you can just make a unique random code. So let's say substring of the dollar phone comma 2. Okay, so this will give us a unique tracking number. So that would be the value for this. Make sure you are giving it within a single quote. Yeah, dollar tracking number comma, next thing is the user ID. So that thing we have it in our session. So we have that in the auth code.php session of auth user of user ID. Okay, so we can just take it from there. Say session of auth user of user ID. Store this in a variable dollar user ID and pass this as the value. So got the user ID, and then the name, we already have it over here. Say dollar name, then the dollar email, dollar phone, pin code. It's the address first. Okay, so according to this sequence you have to give the values. Dollar pin code, then you have the total price. So the total price you have to calculate it over here. So in your checkout.php or in the cart.php, if you remember, we have used this get cart items function, which is in the user functions.php. So we'll go to the user functions.php, and over here you have the get cart items. So we will call this function over there. Copy that and let's import that file. Say require and the path to that file. So we are in the same directory, right? So you can directly call it user functions.php. Okay, and then can call that function over here, get cart items, dollar cart items, and then we have to loop through it. So for that I have this thing in my cart page, I mean the checkout page. So we have used it over here, right? Total price. Just copy this and paste it over here. Remove the HTML, the complete HTML. You can just remove it from here, and you get the total price over here in this variable. Okay, so let me just echo that for now and check if it is working correct. Just comment this code so it doesn't throw an error. Refresh, enter something over here. Okay, so here we are getting the error because we have included the user functions and that thing has a dbcon reference over here. Let me show. So we have required the user functions over here, right? And in this we have used the config/dbcon.php. So it says this path is wrong, so we need to go one step above, right? So let's go, because it is above this, right? So one step above, and refresh. Okay, so undefined variable items in placeorder.php. Items, okay, just call it as cart items. Refresh. So here we have one issue, that is in the user functions on line number 3. Okay, so we have session start over here and over here again. So we can just remove this, call this before. So now that error must be solved. Let's go and refresh. And yeah, so you have got your total cart price. So we'll go back 397, and over here, oops, we have an error. We'll see that user functions. We have used that user functions in our cart.php, right? So it is calling it from this directory. So that is why the config, we are not supposed to go one step above, because it is in this same directory, right? We are calling it from the cart page. So we are not going to use this. Instead, in our placeorder.php, remove the user functions, keep the session start. Okay, and the get cart items we had, right? We'll just directly copy that query and write it over there itself. Okay, so paste. We have the user ID somewhere over here. Yeah, so either you can keep it here or you can keep it here. I'll just remove it because we are already having it over here. Yeah, so looks good. And we have got that thing over here. Refresh, the cart page is working. We have 46397, 46397. Okay, refresh and check. Yeah, it's working good. So we have got the total price. Control X, and over here after the pin code we have the total price, right? Copy and paste. After the total price we have the payment mode, say dollar payment underscore mode. Create this variable over here, dollar payment mode is equal to, we'll just copy and paste this. Okay, we will create a hidden field with this name in the checkout.php. Over here just say input type hidden, give it a name payment mode, give the value as COD. So you got the payment mode, and then for the payment ID say dollar payment ID. Okay, and also create this variable over here, payment ID. So this thing will be null. So we have allowed null for this column, so it's not going to give an error. When we are doing the payment gateway integration, that time we will have the payment ID. So we will use that column at that time. Let me just put this in one single line. Okay, and now we'll write the this is the insert query. Say insert query run MySQL query, pass the connection and the $insert query. Okay, say if insert query run is successfully run, then we are going to get the ID of the inserted order. So for that you can say $order ID, say order underscore ID is equal to MySQL insert ID function, pass the $con in this. Okay, so this will give the last inserted ID from this. Okay, so if your order ID was 10, this will give you 10 to insert in your order items ID. We are going to use this. Before that, we have to just change this user ID because we just changed that variable, right? So we have it over here in this camel case, and over here, yeah, just change that to user ID, and this will give us the latest inserted ID. And now we are going to insert it in the order items table. $insert items query is equal to insert into order underscore items, and give the column names over here, values. Okay, so at the first to go to our order items table, copy these field names and paste it inside this. So you have quantity, product ID, order ID. Yeah, so we have the order ID in this. Copy order ID, comma, then the $prod ID. So the prod ID, we are going to get it from our cart, right? So we have it over here in this query run. You can just run the for each loop over here. As cart item, let's say dollar cart item of prod ID. So you have it in this query, right? Cart dot product ID. Yeah, prod ID and $prod ID. Yeah. What else? The quantity, right? Have the prod QTY, and the price. So the price keeps changing, right? So when the order was placed, we are going to store the price. I mean the price of that product at that particular time. Say price. Okay. Now pass these variables over here. Says the product ID. Says $prod QTY, and then the $price. Set query run is equal to MySQL query, say $con, comma, the query. Okay. So once the order is placed, we are going to redirect the user to the my orders page with a message. So over here, copy this, say go to my orders.php and set the session message $_session of message is equal to order placed successfully. Okay, and die. So we'll just create this page. New file. We'll remove everything except the banner. I mean the breadcrumbs, yeah. So instead of cart, we'll just say my orders page, my orders.php, and authenticate is required over here, and the user functions. Yeah, we'll just leave it like this. So now we go to our orders table. Everything is empty. Go back, refresh, and over here you can just change one thing. Input type equal to email. Yeah, so it will ask for an email format. It will just say like include an at over here. Oh, let me try. Pin code, testing address, and now when I click confirm and place order, order placed successfully, and I'm redirected to my orders page. Let's check our database. So you can see the order is inserted over here. Okay, and in the order items I had 2 items. Yeah, so it is over here. Let us check the total price. Yeah, you have the total price, payment mode, and everything looks correct. Yeah, and one thing we are missing over here, like once the user has checked out, right, we have to clear the user's cart. So after purchasing the items, we don't have to leave this thing over here. So before redirecting the user, over here we are going to remove the user's data. Say dollar delete cart query is equal to delete from carts where user id is equal to user id. We have that variable over here, right? Yeah. Copy cart query run is equal to MySQLi query, pass the $con comma your query. So your cart is also cleared now. Let us test it. Say proceed to checkout and enter some data over here. Order placed successfully. Go to your cart and your cart is empty. You might have 2 orders now. Yeah. So in your cart page, like if you are not having any product, we don't have to show this design. So go to your cart.php and over here can just check. Over here you can say if MySQLi num rows of $items is greater than 0, only then show this thing. Not only this much, even this proceed to checkout and nothing should be visible, right? So we'll just Control C and over here we'll just paste it. Yeah. So we have just moved this line above and the if condition we have added over here. And in the else part, so we have kept the if over here, right? We have to close this if after this thing. Yeah, open PHP, close PHP. Yeah, so the if condition is closed over here. Else just can just divide the PHP over here, give a card dot card body, say h4 dot py3, and say your cart is empty. Okay, so let us just test it. Refresh. Yeah, we'll just align it in the center. Text center, and we'll give a little bit of shadow. Yeah, so when you have a product in your cart and when you remove this, we have reloaded only this part, right? So if you remember the cart video, we have used this id my cart to reload that part. So you just copy that, Control X, and we need it from here. So I will add another div over here, say my cart. Yeah, and it over here. So refresh. So once I remove this, your cart is empty. Okay, yeah. So that's it in this video, guys. We have seen how to make the checkout page and clear the user's cart after the checkout is completed. So thank you for watching this video, guys. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.